Revealed. How a CEO transformed into the perfect hero, an incredible journey to win back his wife. Ethan Turner stood on the precipice of success, a self-made tech mogul in gleaming Grand Rapids, Michigan. He had it all. The corner office, the accolades, and a beautiful family that once filled his life with joy. But as the relentless grind of ambition consumed him, those warm dinners with Sarah, his high school teacher wife, began to fade into memories. Weekends filled with laughter and playtime with his daughter, Lily, vanished. Instead, his life was an endless torrent of meetings and emails. He convinced himself that financial stability would bridge the emotional chasm growing between them, but the truth was anything but. Then came the scandal, tearing through the fabric of his carefully crafted life. The local newspaper uncovered a scheme his company was entangled in, one that perpetuated economic inequality, the very issues Sarah battled to combat in her classroom every day. He felt the walls close in, shockwaves rippling through their community, forcing Ethan to face the brutal reality of his misplaced priorities. The weight of guilt bore down on him, igniting a fire that pushed him to confront values he had neglected for far too long. The town rallied, and amid the mess, community spirit surged. Neighbors shared stories of resilience and support. Each tale rekindled memories of the togetherness he had forsaken, at once heartwarming and gut-wrenching. Ethan began volunteering at shelters and schools, slowly rediscovering solace in laughter and the warmth of human connection. Still, an ache lingered in his heart. It reached a breaking point during Lily's school play, where he caught sight of Sarah's bravely smiling face, a stark mask hiding years of hurt. That night, lying awake, he realized he needed to protect not only his failing company but also win back the love of the woman he cherished. Yet, every attempt to reach Sarah felt like an uphill battle, her skepticism acting as a barrier to his gestures of love. Even as he longed to display his hidden devotion and the sacrifices he'd made, panic gnawed at him. Would his efforts be enough? He faced a defining moment when he decided to expose the injustices within his company, sacrificing career prestige and credibility for the chance to become a better man. In a series of tumultuous events, Ethan found himself on the brink of a confrontation with Sarah. The air was thick with tension as he held back tears, revealing his quest for redemption and moral integrity. Would this be seen as true change, or merely desperate pleas for forgiveness? There was a flicker of hope that the love they had shared might withstand the tests of adversity. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the night deepened, Ethan stepped out of the house, heart pounding, leaving Sarah in contemplation. Would their love survive the trials of ego, betrayal, and the turbulence of time? As the door clicked shut behind him, uncertainty hung in the air, a fragile line between hope and heartbreak, forging the question of whether he could truly reclaim his family while mending the bonds with the community he had taken for granted. The chill of the evening wrapped around Ethan as he walked aimlessly through the neighborhood, the weight of his choices heavy on his shoulders. The moon hung low, casting silver shadows along the pavement, while he replayed the moments he had taken for granted, laughter echoing in their home, Sarah's gentle teasing about leaving dirty dishes, Lily's tiny feet racing across the floor. All of it felt like a distant dream, blurred by the fog of his obsession with success. Each step he took was a silent plea for clarity. For years, his focus had been on numbers and profit margins. Now, freed from the confines of his office, the emptiness of his life struck him like a thunderclap. He paused at a park where the swings swayed lazily in the night, where he could almost hear the laughter of days gone by, Lily's giggles ringing as he pushed her higher, Sarah pushing back her hair and role-playing as the pirate queen. Forever victorious, he turned back toward home, uncertain of what words would meet Sarah's guarded expressions. Ethan's heart raced as he entered their familiar space. Would she see him, really see him, or just the facade of a man who had once taken everything for granted? The living room was dimly lit, casting a tranquil glow. There on the couch sat Sarah, a book resting on her lap, her fingers anxiously fidgeting with the pages. "Ethan," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper, breaking the silence. The way she said his name, a mix of warmth and caution, made his heart ache. It revealed layers of emotions he hadn't known he had buried. "Sarah," he started, but the words caught in his throat. This was not going to be easy. The genuine apology he had crafted in his mind felt like a fragile glass trinket, beautiful, yet ready to shatter. So instead he took a deep breath, steeling himself against the walls he had built around her heart. "Can we talk?" he finally managed, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. She nodded, a single tear tracing down her cheek as she gestured for him to sit. They talked. Ethan laid bare the turmoil that had plagued him, his vulnerabilities spilling out like a tidal wave. He recounted his journey, the shocking revelations about his company, and the realization that he'd been suffocating under the weight of his own expectations. He spoke of his hope to rebuild not only his professional life but also the family he held so dear. For every word he spoke, he tried to meet her gaze, but Sarah's eyes were clouded. She listened intently but remained silent, the emotional distance feeling insurmountable. Moments slipped by, heavy with unsaid questions and past hurts. Ethan felt time pausing, caught in the limbo of longing and uncertainty. And then it happened, a flicker of recognition in her eyes, something that signaled she was beginning to remember the love that had sparked their lives long ago. He took a chance. "I've made mistakes and I'm still working to fix them. But I want you back, Sarah. I want us back. I need you in my life." At that, she inhaled deeply, her heart visibly wrestling with hope and hurt. But the shadows of doubt still lingered, weaving through their conversation. "Can I believe you after everything?" she finally asked, the question slicing through the hesitation like a knife. Ethan reached across the space between them, hoping desperately to bridge the gap with something real. "I won't give up. Not now, not ever." In that moment they locked eyes, an electric connection igniting an unspoken challenge. Would they find a way back to each other? Or was the past too heavy to lift? As night deepened, uncertainty hung in the air, shimmering between them, like a fragile thread ready to either break or bind them together again. Ethan's heart raced with hope, but the fear of losing her once more clawed at his soul. He could feel the tide shifting, but would love's current pull them together or drag them apart forever? The silence stretched between them, heavy with the weight of unspoken words. Ethan could see the clash of emotions in Sarah's eyes, hope tipping against doubt, a tender flicker of something more rolling over the surface. He took a breath, wanting to reach out, craving connection, but uncertainty loomed like a thunderstorm. "Sarah," he said, his voice cracking slightly, "I know I've let you down, let us down. I thought success would fix everything. I didn't realize until it was too late that I wasn't just losing my job. I was losing my family." Her gaze flickered away, fixing on the wall just beyond him. "Ethan, you don't understand what it felt like the nights I spent worrying if you'd come home late again, if you'd even want to come home at all." The torrent of her fear and disappointment cascaded around them like a dark cloud, thick with resentment and love. Ethan's heart twisted. She was right. He hadn't seen it. The late nights, his sacrifices, they were meant to build a better future, but they had instead built walls. "I thought working hard would lead to happiness for all of us. That's what I thought success meant." "It's not just about success," Sarah interrupted, her voice firm yet trembling. "It's about being there. You can succeed at your job, but if you're not present for us, what good is it?" She met his gaze, her eyes glistening with the weight of her truth. He wanted to reach out, to touch her hand and pull her from the shadows, but hesitated. Would that make her pull back even more? Instead he kept talking, pouring his heart out. "I want to learn how to be a husband and father again. I'm willing to change, to do whatever it takes to earn your trust back." Sarah searched his eyes, looking for the sincerity she desperately needed. "And what does that look like, Ethan? What will change?" His heart raced. "I don't know all the answers, but I'm committed to trying. I know this will take time. There are no shortcuts. We just have to start somewhere." Her shoulders relaxed slightly, and Ethan caught the faintest hint of hope creeping into her expression. "You're saying all the right things, but I need to see actions. Words alone, those have lost their weight. You left me waiting too many times before." Ethan felt a knot in his throat. "I understand. I promise to show you that I mean it." He could feel his pulse racing. "Can we take it one step at a time? Just let us try to meet for coffee, talk regularly, share moments. If you want, I'll even take over the dishes just like old times. I want to be your partner again." Her lips twitched at that quip, a fleeting smile breaking through. You and dirty dishes who do have thought? The levity was brief, but it opened a crack in the wall. Behind her laughter was the cautious recognition of their once shared life. But she hesitated. It won't be easy. You have to be ready for the hard conversations and the memories of what brought us here. I'm ready, he insisted, feeling the resolve welling up within him. Whatever it takes to make this work. I'll face the ghosts of my mistakes. As the night wore on, something shifted in the air between them. Yet doubt still lingered, gnawing at the edges of their promising moment. Ethan, can you really be that person again? She asked, misgiving still stitched in her voice. His heart sank, the weight of her question hanging heavily. I hope so. The words fell from his lips like whispers of a prayer. He longed to prove to her that he could be more than the man she had lost. As they sat in the dim light, uncertainty still crackled, leaving their future tangled in questions. But with each small step they took, every fleeting smile that ignited hope, Ethan felt change stirring in the silence. Together, could they find a way to heal? The shadow of doubt loomed, but Ethan knew he had to try. Could love bloom again in a fractured garden? Or would the past roots of their relationship strangle their chances of renewal? He would fight for her, but with the battle ahead, he couldn't help but wonder. What hidden truths awaited them both in the journey back to each other? Ethan spent the night tossing and turning, tangled in thoughts of Sarah and their fractured relationship. Each time he closed his eyes, her words replayed in his mind. It's not just about success. He felt the weight of disappointment pressing down on him, and regret hung like a heavy fog, refusing to lift. Morning light seeped through the curtains, illuminating the room with a soft glow, but it did little to brighten his spirits. He finally got out of bed, pulling on a pair of jeans and a wrinkled t-shirt. As he prepared to face the day, he resolved to make his intentions clear. Actions, not words, had to lead the way. He glanced at his reflection in the bathroom mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. His face looked worn and drawn, but determination sparked in his eyes. He was done wallowing. It was time to fight for his family. Ethan sat at the kitchen table, a thermos of coffee at his side, and opened his laptop. The company's numbers were still daunting, but his focus wasn't on business today. He opened a blank document and began typing a plan not for work, but for his family. Every idea turned into a list. Things to do with Sarah and the kids, moments to capture and promises to keep. He imagined their laughter filling the house, the sound of family meals and game nights that stretched late into the evening. As the day unfolded, he couldn't shake the anticipation of meeting Sarah again. He had suggested coffee, just the two of them, and the prospect filled him with both hope and anxiety. Would she really be open to giving him a chance? Was it wishful thinking? Time moved slowly until he finally gathered his courage and made his way to the cafe where they had first met years ago. The clatter of cups and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, comforting and nostalgic. He arrived early, tapping his foot on the worn tile floor, eyes scanning the door every time it swung open. A few minutes felt like hours until she walked in, and just like that, everything in the room faded away except for her. Sarah looked radiant, though there was still a tentative hesitance around her. As she approached, Ethan's heart raced. She wore the same brave face he had seen the night before, but there was a softness in her expression that made him emboldened. Hey, he said, offering a smile that felt genuine despite his nerves. Hey, she replied, taking a seat across from him. The space felt charged with possibilities and fears. Thanks for meeting me, he started, his voice steadying. I wanted to talk about everything. Really talk. Not just half-hearted conversations. She nodded, looking intently at him, as if searching for the truth in his eyes. What did you have in mind? Ethan swallowed hard, knowing this was the crux of it all. I need you to know I'm willing to put in the work. Not just for us but for myself too. He took a deep breath, letting the vulnerability wash over him. I want to be present, really present. I want to help make our home the safe space it should be been. Ethan, she began, her brow furrowing with a mix of hope and skepticism. I'm serious, he interrupted. I've made plans. I want to do family activities, create traditions. It's time for me to be the husband and father you deserve. Not later, not after work now. I want to start this journey together. The silence that followed was thick, wrapping around them like a blanket. Slowly, A tiny smile crept onto Sarah's face, but it was cautious. You need to know it won't be easy. Old habits die hard. I know, Ethan said, feeling the warmth of optimism spark in his chest. But I'm ready to fight for this. For us. And there it was, that sliver of hope, like a tiny flame flickering in the dark. But just as quickly doubt wormed its way back in. But Ethan, what happens when it gets tough? When it feels like we're going in circles? I'll be here, he answered, conviction lacing his tone. I don't want to run away anymore. Can you trust me? Their eyes locked, and for the first time in a long while, Ethan felt something shift. The air felt lighter, the burden slightly eased, but the path ahead still seemed rocky. Let us see how it goes, she finally responded, trying to contain her hope. Ethan nodded, understanding that this was just the beginning. The hard work was only just starting. But he felt each moment like a step toward healing. Okay. One step at a time, he said, and Sarah echoed him softly. As they sipped coffee and began to share their stories, he realized the fight for their family was just beginning. But with hope rising in his chest, Ethan dared to wonder, what would tomorrow bring, and could it bring something even brighter? Ethan spent the rest of the afternoon walking through the city streets, the adrenaline from the meeting with Sarah still buzzing in his veins. Each step felt lighter, as though he was shedding the weight of the past. He tried to focus on the promise they just made to each other. But doubt lurked, playing tricks on his mind. How long would it take for that spark of hope to either ignite or flicker out? He glanced at strangers, couples holding hands, families laughing together. A wave of nostalgia swept over him. Those were moments he'd let slip away in the race for success. What would it take to regain that? Ethan paused at a park, the sun casting golden rays through the leaves. He lowered himself onto a bench, the texture of the wood rough beneath him, grounding him in that moment. He pulled out his phone and stared at the screen, contemplating his next move. Communication had always been a challenge for him at home, but something told him that keeping lines open would be crucial now. The thought of writing a text to Sarah sat heavily in his mind. After a few moments of deliberation, he finally started typing. Thanks for today. I mean it. Let us plan something fun for the kids this weekend. Just the four of us. As he hit send, hope surged within him again. It felt good to suggest something concrete, a piece of normalcy he longed for. He imagined their weekend, filled with laughter and excitement. But would their kids see the difference? Would they feel the energy shift in their home? As the sun began to dip below the horizon, Ethan headed home, entertained by the thought of the kids' faces lighting up at a simple trip to the zoo or a picnic at their favorite park. When he entered the house, the chaotic symphony of family life welcomed him. The sound of giggles and shouts filled the air. He found Ava and Noah sprawled across the living room floor, surrounded by toys, their energy palpable. Seeing them brought an instant smile to his face. Hey guys, he called out, and immediately their heads turned. Wide grins spread across their faces. Daddy, they shouted in unison, jumping up to greet him. The embrace was warm and vibrant. In that moment he realized their joy had always been tied to him, just as much as his was to them. Guess what? I have an idea for this weekend, he said, his voice infused with excitement. How does a family day sound? Zoo or picnic? Noah's eyes lit up, bouncing on his heels. Zoo. I want to see the lions. Ava chimed in, and the monkeys. Can we bring snacks? Absolutely, Ethan laughed, thrilled by their enthusiasm. As he joined in their playful banter, he felt the knot of anxiety loosening. But then in an instant, he remembered Sarah's cautious smile from earlier. Would this be enough? Your mom will love the idea too, he said, steering the conversation toward her. The children exchanged knowing glances, always tuned in to their parents' unspoken feelings. What if she says no? Noah asked, his brow furrowing with concern. Ethan knelt down to their level, placing a hand on each of their shoulders. We hope for the best, but if she doesn't, we still have each other, okay? Ava nodded, though doubt flickered in her gaze. That doubt surprisingly mirrored his own. What if this was just another hopeful moment, soon to be overshadowed by old habits? But he pushed the thought away. They needed hope, he needed hope. That night as they shared dinner, the atmosphere felt lighter, sprinkled with laughter and passive kindness. Later, as Ethan lay in bed staring at the ceiling, he recalled fragments of conversations with Sarah. Each word began weaving back together, telling a story he was determined to help rewrite. His phone buzzed softly. A glance revealed a new message from Sarah. "Love the idea. Let us talk more tomorrow." His heart skipped a beat. This was it, the possibility of rekindling family fires. But just as swiftly, a fear crept in, shouting to be heard. What if the conversation would reveal how broken they still were? As he closed his eyes, Ethan didn't have all the answers. But the fight for his family had just begun, and he wasn't ready to let hope slip away again. With a deep breath, he whispered to the darkness, one step at a time. Was he truly ready for whatever came next? Ethan awoke the next morning with the sunlight streaming through the curtains, casting soft patterns on the wall. The initial thrill of the day ahead tinged his thoughts with excitement. He reminded himself to savor these moments. After all, didn't today hold the potential to shape everything? As he moved around the kitchen, the scent of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, inviting him to embrace what was to come. Ava and Noah shuffled into the kitchen, still rubbing the sleep from their eyes. "Good morning," Ethan chirped, his heart warmed by their sleepy smiles. He poured cereal and milk into colorful bowls, their familiar morning routine punctuating the silence. "Daddy, what time are we going to the zoo?" Noah asked, his enthusiasm bubbling over in a way that only children could express. After lunch, Ethan replied, looking forward to a day filled with exploration and laughter. Suddenly, his phone buzzed on the counter, and his pulse quickened as he grabbed it. It was a message from Sarah. "Can we meet at the coffee shop to talk before the zoo?" A sense of unease washed over him. Would she come ready to discuss the kids or address deeper issues that haunted them? Taking a deep breath, he replied, "Sure, see you soon." After breakfast, Ethan shuffled the kids through their morning routine, the excitement of the zoo hanging in the air like sweet perfume. As they finished getting ready, he felt the weight of the conversation with Sarah press heavily on his chest. Once the kids were settled with their favorite cartoons, Ethan grabbed a coffee mug from the cabinet, pacing back and forth, trying to prepare himself mentally. What if their talk spiraled into the unresolved arguments or the heartbreak that lay beneath everything? It was a risk he had to take, but what if it didn't end well? The coffee shop was buzzing when Ethan walked in. He scanned the tables until he spotted Sarah, a storm of emotions flickering across her face. She looked up and smiled, but there was a caution in her eyes that mimicked his own uncertainty. "Hey," he said, sliding into the chair across from her. "Thanks for meeting me." "Of course," she replied, taking a deep breath. "I love the idea of spending time together as a family." Her warmth melted some of his anxiety. "Me too. The kids are really looking forward to it." A slight smile crossed her lips, and for a fleeting moment, the ghosts of their past receded, leaving space for hope. But as quickly as it arrived, the seriousness of their conversation loomed. "Ethan, can we talk about us?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. He looked down at his hands, struggling to merge the joy of their kids with the gravity of their relationship. "I think we need to. It's been hard and I want to change things." Her eyes softened and he caught his breath. "Do you really mean that?" she pressed. "I do," he whispered, heart thumping loudly in his chest. "I'm committed to making this work. I want us to be better for the kids." Her gaze fell away momentarily, and Ethan sensed the chains of the past still wrapped around them. But then she looked back, the spark of yearning igniting again. "I want that too, but can we be honest about what went wrong? About our feelings?" As her words settled between them, Ethan felt a rush of uncertainty. He wanted to be transparent, to dive deep into the fears that had pushed them apart. But he also feared what truths could surface. He took a deep breath, ready to bare his soul. "Okay," he agreed, his heart pounding. "Let us be honest." But before they could delve deeper, Noah's bright voice echoed through his mind, reminding him of the laughter waiting just outside the coffee shop's door. Would their exchange be a bridge toward something beautiful? Or would the truth create another chasm? With every second, the determination in him grew stronger. "I need to know," he thought. "Am I ready to face our past?" And so, embroiled in the moment, he braced himself, impulsively choosing to leap into the unknown. Would it bring them closer or break them apart even more? In the battle between hope and truth, which way would they go? Ethan's heart raced as he looked into Sarah's eyes. The warmth left by her smile lingered, but the weight of unsaid words pressed down on them. He felt the familiar pang of nerves, the kind that could swiftly turn to panic if he let it. This conversation had the power to close the distance or reignite the old hurts. Okay, he began, his voice steadier than he felt. Let us talk. She nodded, her expression shifting into something serious yet hopeful. I've been thinking about why things fell apart. We drifted so much over time. There were moments I felt invisible. His heart clenched. He remembered nights spent arguing, days filled with silence. I know, he replied softly. I felt it too. I thought about the demands of work and I lost focus on what mattered. On us. Sarah's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. I kept asking for you. For your attention. But it felt like I was just another task on your list. The accusation stung, and he shifted in his chair, feeling the urge to defend himself. I didn't mean for it to be that way. I was overwhelmed trying to provide for the kids, for us. But it didn't excuse the distance. Silence draped around them like a heavy blanket. With every passing moment, Ethan's pulse thundered in his ears. It was so frightening to lay everything bare. I want to do better, he finally added, desperation creeping in. I want our days to be filled with laughter again. Like before. She wiped at a stray tear, her expression softening. I want that too. I miss us. I miss the way we used to be. There was a vulnerability in her voice that struck a deep chord in Ethan. But can we handle the truth? The things we avoided? He took a deep breath, summoning courage he didn't know he had. Yes. No more masking how we feel. It's painful, but we can't ignore what's gone wrong. I want to hear everything, Sarah. No matter how hard it is. An unreadable expression crossed her face, and he wondered what demon she was confronting. Okay, she finally said. A hint of reluctance lingering. It's just when I look back, I see moments of joy mixed with feeling alone. I can't help but think if things had been different, how? He pressed gently, leaning forward as if to close the emotional distance between them. Different, like you being there during those long nights, she confessed, her voice breaking. Or me standing on the sidelines, feeling invisible when we should have been a team. The weight of her words rested heavily on Ethan's shoulders. He had always seen himself as their provider, forgetting the intimacy of partnership. I took you for granted. The words spilled from him raw and heavy. And I'm so sorry. The pity in her eyes twisted his stomach, but he remained resolute. You deserve more than I was able to give. He cringed at the memories of the arguments, the resentment that had formed like an invisible wall. For a moment, silence reclaimed its space between them, thick and charged. Then Sarah leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. If we want to rebuild, we'll have to face these fears together. You promise we won't back down? He felt a swell of hope. Together. That simple word had power. With a resolute nod he replied, yes. Promise. A spark flickered in her eyes, igniting something bright amidst the shadows. But before they could delve deeper, the distant laughter of their children echoed, reminding Ethan of why they were here. Let us finish this after the zoo? He suggested, needing a brief pause. The corner of Sarah's mouth turned up slightly. Yeah, I think that would be good. We can dive back into it later. Ethan felt a surge of relief. There was still a long way to go, but for the first time in a long time hope felt tangible. Maybe they could carve a new path one step at a time. As they both stood to leave, Ethan glancing at the clock, the day stretched ahead with promise and lingering questions. Would being honest open more doors for them? He could feel the weight of unresolved feelings still nestled inside. As they stepped out of the coffee shop, the radiant sun felt like a sign of possibilities ahead. Yet uncertainty gnawed at him. What else were they holding back? What truths remained hidden? Ethan clenched his fists, determined to unravel everything lurking beneath the surface. Today was just the beginning. The real journey had only just commenced. Ethan's breath caught in his throat as they stepped into the bustling zoo, the excitement of their children mingling with the tension still hanging between him and Sarah. The vibrant colors of the animals and the sounds of laughter swirled around them, but in his heart, he felt a different kind of chaos. Every laugh echoed like a reminder of how far they had strayed. Look, Dad. The elephants. Their son, Noah, shouted, pulling on Ethan's arm, his face radiant with joy. Ethan smiled down at him, but the smile felt too tight. Yeah, buddy. Let us go see them. As they walked, Sarah lingered a step behind, her eyes flitting between Ethan and their children. The weight of words unspoken loomed. They reached the elephants, and the kids pressed their noses against the glass, utterly absorbed. Ethan watched them, yearning to capture this moment in a bottle. The innocence of childhood was a stark contrast to the complexities of adulthood. Noah pointed at an elephant spraying water, laughing uncontrollably, while their daughter Lily clapped her hands in delight. "Isn't it amazing how they can spray so far?" Sarah asked, catching Ethan's eye. It was a simple question, yet it carried layers. "Yeah," he replied, turning to look at her. His heart swelled as he noticed her smile. There was a flicker of the woman he fell in love with, beneath the doubts and pain. "Remember the time we took them to the petting zoo?" she continued, her voice warm with nostalgia. Noah was so scared of the goat, but Lily just marched right over. Ethan chuckled, the fond memory lightening some of the heaviness in his chest. "And I had to rescue him from that mischievous goat." Her laugh mingled with the noise of the zoo, and for a brief moment, the connection between them tightened. But then it slipped away, the reminder of their previous conversations lurking just beneath the surface. "Can we talk about it?" Sarah's voice cut through the moment, pulling him back. "Later, after they've had their fun?" Ethan nodded. The thought of further discussions about their relationship twisted his stomach slightly. But there was something undeniable in Sarah's eyes. A plea mingled with determination. As the day continued, they wandered through exhibits, watching the children marvel at lions, monkeys, and brightly colored birds. Their hands brushed occasionally, electric connections sparking between them, yet heavy with the knowledge they both carried. Ethan couldn't shake off the anticipation mixed with a tinge of fear for their later conversation. At lunchtime, they found a picnic table beneath a large, shady tree. The laughter of kids echoed around them. Noah and Lily were busy devouring their sandwiches, telling stories as if they had just stumbled upon a great discovery. Ethan caught Sarah watching them, a soft smile on her lips. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, curious to know where her mind wandered. "Just how lucky we are," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "But it feels like we're lost trying to find our way back to each other." Ethan swallowed hard. "I don't want to feel lost anymore," he admitted. The words felt raw against the backdrop of laughter. "I want us to find our way back." She met his gaze, and in that moment the world around them faded. But laughter erupted again, shattering their bubble, and Ethan felt the heaviness of everything they had to discuss return like an incoming tide. "I want that too," Sarah said, her voice tinged with both hope and fear. "But it means risking a lot more than we have." Before his heart raced. Could he lay bare everything he felt? The scars of pain? The moments of joy? He was ready, but was she? The kids were squabbling now over whose turn it was to choose the next animal to visit. Their innocent bickering filled the air. But in the depths of their emotions, Ethan and Sarah stood on the precipice of deeper revelations. Ethan gripped the edge of the picnic table, breathing in the moment. If they were going to face the truth together, he knew they couldn't hold back any longer. What walls would they tear down? What fears must they confront as they moved forward? As they helped their kids finish lunch, laughter interlaced with the tension again. The day was slipping away, and soon they would have to sit in that stark honesty. The sun hung low in the sky, signaling the afternoon would soon turn to evening. In that fading light, as the kids finished their sandwiches, Ethan's thoughts revolved around one question. Were they truly ready to unearth everything buried beneath the surface, or would the weight of their past hold them back once more? Determination surged within him as they prepared for the next phase of their journey. They had taken a step forward, but the real test was yet to come. Ethan's heart raced as he watched Noah and Lily finish their sandwiches, their faces covered in crumbs and smeared with mustard. The afternoon sun cast a warm glow, but the chill in the air was unmistakable. He could almost feel the shadows of their unspoken struggles creeping back in. "Okay, everyone done?" Sarah asked, her tone cheerful but edged with tension. As the kids nodded eagerly, she turned to Ethan, her expression shifting to one of resolve. "Let us take a stroll by the penguins. They always make me smile." Ethan nodded, but the weight in his chest refused to budge. They gathered their things, the sound of rustling bags mingling with the chatter of families nearby. Each step felt heavier as they moved toward the penguins, and the occasional laugh from the kids barely cut through his thoughts. It was a distraction, a mask, and it only emphasized what loomed ahead. Once they arrived at the exhibit, The sight of the waddling penguins brought squeals of excitement from Noah and Lily. They pressed their faces against the glass, their giggles echoing off the walls. Ethan forced a smile, but his mind was miles away. "Look, Dad. That one's slipping." Lily pointed, her eyes sparkling with joy. "Yeah, they really know how to show off," Ethan replied, trying to focus his energy on their happiness. But Sarah's presence next to him pulled his attention back like a magnet. She stood still, watching their children with a soft smile. He saw something stirring in her, a warmth that drew him in, igniting a flicker of hope amidst the tension. "Ethan," she said, her voice steady yet tinged with emotion, this isn't just about what we've been through, is it? It's about what we want moving forward." He felt his heart leap. Here it was. The crossroads. "You're right." The words came out measured, but inside, he felt the whirlwind of uncertainty. "I don't just want us to get through this. I want us to be better." Her gaze met his, and in that brief eye contact he felt an understanding. A shared pain. "Better how?" she asked quietly, searching for the truth buried deep. "I want us to communicate. To trust each other again. We have to get to the roots of why we drifted apart." Her brow furrowed as she processed his words. He heard the kids laughing again, but this time it felt like a distant echo. "Can we do that?" Sarah asked. "Can we really face everything?" "I'm scared, Ethan. What if we can't?" Her admission hung in the air like a weight, heavy and uncertain. "I am too," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "But we owe it to ourselves and the kids to try." As the enormity of their moment settled around them, Ethan's heart thudded loud in his chest. He watched as Noah and Lily continued to squeal at the antics of the penguins, oblivious to the gravity of their parents' conversation. Life, laughter, and innocence spun around them, a stark contrast to the serious choice they faced. "What if we started small?" Sarah suggested, her eyes still focused on the glass wall. "Like sharing one thing a day that we appreciate about each other? It could break the ice." Ethan nodded, a spark of courage igniting. "And we could work our way up to the hard stuff. We don't have to do it all at once." For the first time in a long while, he saw the faint glimmer of possibility. But a part of him still hovered in doubt. As the kids' laughter filled the space with warmth, Ethan knew these tiny, small steps could lead to something more significant, or they could falter on the brink, lost in fear once again. "Can I hold your hand?" Sarah's voice interrupted his thoughts, bringing him back to the moment. He looked at her, surprised but touched. "Yeah," he said, reaching for her hand, feeling the warmth spread between them. In that small connection, he could feel the walls beginning to crumble ever so slightly. But just then, a sudden loud squawk erupted from the penguins, startling the kids and drawing their attention away from what could be a turning point for him and Sarah. "Look!" Noah exclaimed, clapping his hands. Caught between hope and fear, Ethan turned to Sarah. With a smile that felt both tender and brave. Would this be their turning point? Or just another moment lost in the chaos of life? Together they stood as their children danced around the exhibit, excitement surging in the air. But Ethan wondered if their next words would not only reveal their hearts, but also unlock the path toward healing. Underneath laughter and innocence, what truths had yet to be unveiled? Ethan's heart sang as he felt Sarah's hand in his. A small yet significant connection amidst the chaos of their lives. The laughter of Noah and Lily bubbled around them, encasing their fragile moment in innocence while the penguins waddled in delight. Everything felt both beautifully simple and intricately complicated. "Should we try?" Sarah whispered, a mixture of hope and apprehension dancing in her voice. "Yeah, let us try," Ethan replied, firmer than before, the resolve coiling in him. "We owe it to us." After a few breaths, they made their way over to a quieter corner, where they could watch the penguins without the kids' noise overwhelming them. Noah spotted the pink flamingos next door, and ran off with Lily towards the bright birds. "Let us take this moment," Sarah said, turning her gaze towards him, her eyes steady. "Let us talk about what we can build, not just what's been broken." Ethan nodded. They stood by the noisy water, watching, waiting. "Together we'll find our way," he breathed, "and I'm here for it all. The small stuff, the big dialogues every day." "Every day, yes," Sarah echoed, feeling the weight of their past linger. But there was a spark of something new, possibility. "I miss you, Ethan. The real you." "I miss you too, the way you light up the room," he replied, his voice raw with emotion. I know a daily gesture could help us reconnect. What do you need to feel safe to open up again? Just your honesty, she whispered, leaning closer, her warmth reaching deep within him. And your presence like you are now. In that moment he resolved to shed the past like an unneeded skin. I'll work on being present. Not just in body but in spirit, in every conversation. As they gathered themselves, Noah and Lily came back with stained faces from ice cream. Laughter and energy burst like fireworks. Sarah watched them with a smile, and Ethan felt a fresh wave of love wash over him. It's simple, I senti it? Sarah asked, a hint of disbelief in her tone. Yeah, it really is, Ethan replied, bringing her hand up to his lips briefly. The kids already show us how to express joy. Just then, Noah tugged at his dad's shirt, eyes sparkling with mischief. Can we go see the lions next? Please. His enthusiasm was infectious, and soon Lily chimed in too, bouncing on her feet. All right, let us go, Ethan exclaimed, lifting Noah in one swift motion, and the little boy squealed in delight. Lily followed suit, grabbing her mother's hand, and pulling her along as they approached the lion exhibit. Ethan shared mischievous glances with Sarah. In that moment he felt the tensions ease. Laughter replaced anxiety, and hope began to drown out fear. See, we can build this, Ethan said in a low voice, gently nudging Sarah as they stood side by side, their children racing ahead. And you know what? The journey will be messy, she responded, her eyes gleaming. But I do choose this messy life with you over anything else. Yes, me too, he said, heartful. What came next was nothing short of magical. As they stepped into the lion enclosure, Ethan felt the power of the moment. Time slowed as they watched the regal animals lounging majestically under the midday sun. The children's wide eyes reflected awe. Sarah's hand squeezed his, grounding him in that split second of perfection. Can we be like them? Lily asked innocently. Like what? Ethan replied, amused. Strong and together, she exclaimed, joy radiating off her. Yes, strong and together, Sarah reiterated, meeting Ethan's gaze. Despite the unfamiliar road ahead, they walked forward, side by side, hands entwined, hearts open. They were fighting for something worth every struggle, transforming their family through small moments, laughter leading to love, joy unraveling the chains that bound them. As their day came to an end, and they headed back to the car, Ethan looked back at Sarah, the warmth of connection filling the space between them. Let us always remind ourselves how to keep building, all right? Always, she whispered, her smile radiating warmth. In that serene moment, Ethan felt the doubts drifting away. They were more than just parents or partners. They were allies in the journey of love and redemption. Together they stepped towards whatever storm lay ahead. As long as they had each other, they were stronger than ever. As they drove home with Noah and Lily chattering in the back seat, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that today was just the beginning. Hope surged inside him, mingled with excitement for their renewed journey, a battle won, not just among struggles, but toward a beautiful transformation. Now, for everyone tuning into this incredible journey, if you felt uplifted by this story and want to see where it goes next, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive tales. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. I want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand how important these actions are. Let us unite through stories and connection.